My name is Jessica, and 3 months ago I received a call from my insurance company asking about my mother's jewelry collection. We need to verify these items for your stepmother's claim, they said. My mother had been dead for 4 years, and I had no idea what they were talking about. That phone call uncovered a theft so devastating, it would destroy my stepmother's marriage and land her in federal court. Before I dive into this heartbreaking story of family betrayal and insurance fraud, let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button if you've ever had family steal something precious from you, and subscribe to True Revenge for more stories where justice finally wins. I'm 22 years old, and I grew up in Sacramento, California, in a middle-class neighborhood where everyone knew everyone else's business. My mother, Elena Rodriguez, was the kind of woman who lit up every room she entered. She had this infectious laugh and a jewelry collection that told the story of every important moment in her life. Mom worked as a high school Spanish teacher, and my father David owned a small construction company. They met when she was 23 and he was 26 at a community college where she was taking business courses and he was learning about construction management. Dad always said he fell in love with her smile before he ever heard her voice. Growing up, I was fascinated by Mom's jewelry box. Sat on her dresser like a treasure chest, filled with pieces that each had its own story. There was the diamond engagement ring Dad proposed with during a sunset picnic at Lake Tahoe. Pearl necklace her grandmother brought from Mexico in 1952. The gold tennis bracelet Dad bought her when I was born. The emerald earrings she wore to my high school graduation. But the most special piece was her wedding ring set, a classic solitaire diamond with a matching band that caught the light perfectly. Mom would let me try it on sometimes when I was little, telling me stories about their wedding day and how someday, when I found the right person, she'd help me choose something just as beautiful. When I was 16, Mom started getting terrible headaches. First, we thought it was stress from work. The school district was cutting budgets, class sizes were increasing, and she was bringing home stacks of papers to grade every night. But the headaches got worse, and she started forgetting things, students' names, where she put her keys, appointments she'd made. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday afternoon in March. Glioblastoma, an aggressive brain tumor. The oncologist explained our options with the kind of gentle honesty that immediately told us there weren't many good ones. Surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. Months of treatment for maybe a year of life. Mom faced her illness with the same grace she brought to everything else. She organized her affairs, wrote letters to all her students, and spent hours with me talking about the future. During one of our conversations in the hospital, she took off her wedding rings and put them in my hand. "These will be yours someday, Mija," she said, using the Spanish endearment she'd called me since childhood. Along with everything else in my jewelry box. "I want you to have pieces of all our happy memories." Dad was struggling. Watching the woman he'd loved for 18 years deteriorate was destroying him. He started drinking more, working longer hours, doing anything to avoid being home where every corner reminded him of what he was losing. That's when Linda Morrison entered our lives. Linda was the hospice nurse who came to help during Mom's final weeks. She was 38 years old, blonde, with a warm manner that made Dad feel less alone during the hardest time of his life. Linda had been divorced for 3 years, had no children, and seemed to understand exactly what our family needed. She was genuinely helpful during those final weeks. Linda showed me how to manage Mom's medication schedule, taught Dad how to make the hospital bed more comfortable, and was there for the practical details that grief makes impossible to handle. Mom passed away on a quiet Sunday morning in October, with Dad and me holding her hands. Linda was there too, and her presence during those final moments felt like a blessing. What I didn't realize was how quickly comfort can turn into something else. Dad and Linda started dating 6 months after Mom's funeral. I was shocked but tried to be understanding. Dad explained that Linda had helped him through the darkest period of his life, and he couldn't imagine facing the future alone. "Your mother would want me to be happy," he said when I expressed concerns about how fast things were moving. "Linda makes me feel like I can breathe again." They got married 18 months after Mom's death, in a small ceremony at City Hall. I was starting my sophomore year at UC Davis, majoring in criminal justice, and the timing felt rushed. But Dad seemed happier than he'd been since before Mom got sick, so I tried to support his decision. Linda moved into our family home, the house where Mom and Dad had built their life together. She was respectful about Mom's belongings, keeping most of Mom's pictures up and not immediately redecorating. But I noticed small changes each time I came home from college. The jewelry box remained in its place on the master bedroom dresser, but Linda had mentioned several times that she felt weird having another woman's jewelry in her bedroom. "I just want you to know that everything in that box will be yours when you're ready," Linda told me during my Christmas break sophomore year. "Your dad and I both want to honor your mother's wishes." Junior year was demanding. I was taking 18 credit hours, working part-time at a law office, and applying for internships with the district attorney's office. I came home less frequently, usually just for major holidays and summer break. During spring break of junior year, I was looking for a pair of earrings to wear to a job interview when I opened Mom's jewelry box and noticed the pearl necklace was missing. "Linda, do you know where Mom's pearl necklace is?" I asked. "Oh, that old thing?" Linda said casually. "I took it to the jeweler to have it rest rung. Some of the knots were loose, and I was worried the pearls might scatter. It should be ready next week." That seemed reasonable. Mom had always been careful about maintaining her jewelry, and the necklace was over 70 years old. But when I came home for summer break, the necklace still wasn't back. "The jeweler is being incredibly slow," Linda explained. "You know how these local places are. But don't worry, it's safe." Senior year flew by in a blur of classes, job applications, and preparation for the LSAT. I was focused on getting into law school and building my career. The jewelry box honestly wasn't my top priority. When I came home for Christmas break senior year, I noticed the emerald earrings were gone too. "Linda, where are Mom's emerald earrings?" "Those old things had damaged settings," she said without looking up from her magazine. "I took them to get repaired." Better safe than sorry, right? Something felt off, but I was in the middle of law school applications and didn't want to create family drama over jewelry I wasn't even ready to wear yet. Linda had been taking care of Mom's collection for 3 years. If she thought repairs were necessary, maybe she was being responsible. 3 months ago, I was in my first semester at Sacramento State's paralegal program when my phone rang during contract law class. Caller ID showed Western Insurance Group, our family's insurance company. "Miss Rodriguez? This is Mark Henley from Western Insurance. I'm calling about a claim filed by Linda Rodriguez regarding jewelry items. We need to verify some information about your mother's collection." My blood ran cold. I stepped out of class and took the call in the hallway. "What kind of claim?" I asked. "Your stepmother filed a claim 3 weeks ago stating that several pieces from your mother's jewelry collection were stolen during a home burglary. She's provided appraisals and is requesting reimbursement for approximately $35,000 in missing items." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. "What items?" According to the claim, a pearl necklace valued at $8,000, emerald earrings valued at $12,000, a gold tennis bracelet valued at $6,000, a diamond engagement ring valued at $15,000, and several other pieces. Mrs. Rodriguez stated that these items were part of your mother's estate and were being held in trust for you. "There was no burglary," I said, my voice shaking. "And those items weren't stolen. My stepmother told me they were being repaired." There was a long pause. "Miss Rodriguez, I think you need to come to our office immediately. We may have a significant problem here." I drove straight to the Western Insurance office, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. Mark Henley was a middle-aged man with kind eyes who looked genuinely disturbed by what he was about to show me. "Your stepmother filed this claim 3 weeks ago," he said, spreading paperwork across his desk. "She provided police report numbers, detailed descriptions, and professional appraisals for all the missing items. The police report was dated 2 months earlier. According to Linda's statement, she discovered the theft when she went to check on the jewelry collection and found the box empty. She claimed to have no idea when the burglary occurred because the jewelry box had been stored in a bedroom closet for safekeeping. Here's what concerns us, Mark continued. These appraisals are dated 6 months ago. Why would someone get jewelry appraised and then store it in a bedroom closet? Usually, items are appraised for insurance purposes right before they're stored in a safety deposit box or home safe. I stared at the appraisal documents. Mom's pearl necklace, $8,000. The emerald earrings, $12,000. Her engagement ring, $15,000. Tennis bracelet, $6,000. Even her small gold chain and pendant, $2,500. The timing bothers us too, Mark said. Why wait 3 years after your mother's death to get these items appraised? And why file the police report immediately after getting the appraisals? My head was spinning. What are you suggesting? Miss Rodriguez, in 20 years of investigating insurance claims, I've seen this pattern before. Someone gets items appraised, sells them, waits a reasonable amount of time, then reports them stolen and files an insurance claim. It's fraud and it's a federal crime. Mark connected me with Detective Sarah Martinez from the Sacramento Police Department's fraud unit. Detective Martinez was a sharp woman in her 40s who specialized in insurance fraud cases. The first thing we need to determine is whether these items were actually stolen or whether your stepmother sold them herself, Detective Martinez explained. Do you have any photographs of the jewelry? I had dozens. Mom loved jewelry, and Dad was always taking pictures of her wearing different pieces for special occasions. I had photos of her wearing the pearl necklace at my high school graduation, the emerald earrings at their anniversary dinner, and the tennis bracelet at my quinceañera. Perfect. Now we need to check local pawn shops, jewelry stores, and online marketplaces. If your stepmother sold these items, there will be a paper trail. The investigation moved quickly. Detective Martinez had contacts throughout the Sacramento area jewelry trade, and she started making calls immediately. Within 48 hours, she called me back. Jessica, we found them. All of them. My heart stopped. Where? 3 different locations. The pearl necklace and emerald earrings were sold to Golden State Jewelry Exchange 6 months ago. Tennis bracelet went to a pawn shop on Arden Way 4 months ago. And the engagement ring. She paused. The engagement ring was sold to a private collector through an online auction site 5 months ago. Who sold them? All the transactions were made by Linda Rodriguez. We have her signature on the sales receipts, copies of her ID, and security camera footage from 2 of the locations. The evidence was overwhelming. Linda had systematically sold every valuable piece from Mom's collection over a 6-month period, then waited 3 months before filing the insurance claim. What happens now? I asked. Now we arrest her for insurance fraud, theft, and filing a false police report. Federal charges are also possible since this involved wire fraud. Jessica, your stepmother is looking at serious prison time. I wanted to confront Linda myself before the police arrested her. Detective Martinez agreed to let me wear a wire and attempt to get a confession, which would strengthen their case. I drove to my childhood home on a Wednesday afternoon when I knew Dad would be at work. Linda's car was in the driveway, and I could see her through the kitchen window, apparently cooking dinner. I knocked on the front door like a visitor instead of using my key. Jessica. What a surprise, Linda said, hugging me. Dad's not home yet, but come in. I'm making his favorite pot roast. We sat in the living room where I'd grown up, surrounded by family photos that included images of Mom wearing the jewelry Linda had stolen. Linda, I need to ask you about Mom's jewelry, I began. Her face didn't change, but I caught a slight tightening around her eyes. What about it, honey? The insurance company called me. They said you filed a claim for stolen jewelry. Linda's expression shifted to one of concern and sympathy. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to worry you during school. We had a break-in 2 months ago. They took everything from your mom's collection. I was devastated. Really? Because I talked to the police, and they have security footage of you selling the pearl necklace at Golden State Jewelry Exchange. Color drained from Linda's face. For a moment, she looked like she might deny it. Then her shoulders sagged. How did you find out? The insurance investigator got suspicious about the timing of the appraisals. Linda, why would you do this? Those pieces meant everything to me. Linda stood up and walked to the window, her back to me. When she spoke, her voice was different, harder, less warm than the woman who'd comforted our family during Mom's final days. Do you have any idea how expensive it is to maintain this house? Your father's business has been struggling for 2 years. We're behind on the mortgage, the property taxes, and the utilities. I saw all that jewelry sitting in a box, collecting dust while we were drowning in debt. You could have asked me. We could have figured something out. She turned around and the mask was completely off now. Asked you for what? You're a college student with student loans. Your father would never agree to sell Elena's jewelry. Those pieces were just sitting there, worthless to everyone except as memories. They weren't worthless to me. Memories don't pay mortgages, Jessica. I was trying to save this family from losing everything. Your mother is dead. She doesn't need jewelry anymore. The coldness in her voice as she dismissed Mom's memory was devastating. This was the woman who'd held my hand at the funeral, who'd promised to keep Mom's treasures safe for me. So you decided to steal them and commit insurance fraud? I was going to pay you back when the insurance claim came through. You would have gotten the money instead of old jewelry you never even wear. That wasn't your choice to make. Linda's face hardened completely. Your father married me, not your dead mother's memory. This is my house now, and I made a practical decision about assets that were just taking up space. That's when I knew the woman we'd trusted during our family's most vulnerable time had been calculating her opportunity from the very beginning. Detective Martinez and 2 other officers arrested Linda the next morning at 6 a.m. I wasn't there, but Dad called me immediately afterward, his voice shaking. They arrested Linda for fraud. Jessica, what the hell is going on? I met Dad at the police station and explained everything. Watching him process the betrayal was almost as painful as discovering it myself. She told me she was protecting Elena's jewelry for you, he said, sitting in the police station parking lot with his head in his hands. I trusted her completely. How could I have been so blind? Dad, she was a hospice nurse. She knew exactly how to take advantage of people in grief. This isn't your fault. But Dad was devastated in a way that went beyond the financial crime. I let her into our home, into our family. I gave her access to everything that mattered to your mother. The evidence against Linda was overwhelming. She'd left a paper trail at every step: the appraisals, the sales receipts, the false police report, the insurance claim. Her public defender advised her to take a plea deal. Linda ultimately pled guilty to insurance fraud, theft, and filing a false police report. She was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $45,000 in restitution, the value of the jewelry plus penalties. The insurance company worked with law enforcement to help me recover the stolen pieces. Pearl necklace and emerald earrings were retrieved from Golden State Jewelry Exchange. The tennis bracelet was recovered from the pawn shop. The engagement ring was more complicated. Private collector who'd bought it online was cooperative but had purchased it in good faith. Took 6 months of legal negotiations, but eventually the collector agreed to sell it back to me at cost. Getting the physical pieces back was important, but the emotional damage took longer to heal. Every time I looked at Mom's jewelry, I thought about Linda calculating their value while comforting our family during our darkest time. Dad and I had to rebuild our relationship too. He felt guilty about bringing Linda into our lives and giving her access to Mom's belongings. I was angry that he'd married someone so quickly after Mom's death and hadn't protected the things that mattered most to me. I was so lonely after your mother died, Dad explained during one of our difficult conversations. Linda made me feel less alone. I thought I was doing the right thing by moving forward. Moving forward didn't require giving her access to Mom's jewelry box. You're right. I should have put your mother's things in a safe deposit box or given them directly to you. I was thinking with my grief instead of my brain. Took months of family counseling for us to work through the betrayal and its aftermath. Dad learned that his need for companionship after Mom's death had made him vulnerable to manipulation. I learned that my anger about Linda's betrayal was mixed with deeper anger about losing Mom so young. The financial impact was significant too. Dad had to refinance the house to pay legal fees and cover the mortgage payments that Linda claimed were behind. The insurance company eventually paid out the claim to me since the jewelry was rightfully mine, but Linda's restitution payments from prison were minimal. What I learned from this experience goes far beyond the obvious lesson about trusting people too quickly during times of grief. I learned that some people see vulnerability as an opportunity. Linda didn't stumble into fraud. She planned it carefully, using her professional training to gain access to our family during our most defenseless moment. I learned that material possessions, even precious ones, can be replaced, but the violation of trust during grief leaves scars that take years to heal. Most importantly, I learned that justice doesn't always feel satisfying. Getting Linda sentenced to prison and recovering most of Mom's jewelry should have felt like victory. Instead, it mostly felt like loss, the loss of the family Linda could have been, the loss of my father's happiness, the loss of my ability to look at Mom's jewelry without thinking about betrayal. But there was one unexpected positive outcome. The experience inspired me to change my career focus from general law to elder law and estate protection. I'm now working toward a specialization in protecting vulnerable families from financial exploitation during times of grief and crisis. Through my internship with the district attorney's office, I've worked on dozens of cases similar to mine. Family members, caregivers, and trusted friends who exploit access to vulnerable people's assets during medical crises, bereavement, or age-related cognitive decline. Patterns are depressingly similar. Someone gains access during a crisis, gradually removes valuable items while providing explanations about repairs or safekeeping, then either disappears with the items or files fraudulent insurance claims. Linda served 18 months of her 3-year sentence and was released early for good behavior. She's required to continue making restitution payments, though at her current income level it will take years to fully repay what she stole. Dad is dating again, more carefully this time. He met Catherine through a grief support group and they've been together for 8 months. Catherine lost her husband to cancer 3 years ago and understands the complexity of building new relationships after profound loss. I wear Mom's engagement ring now on my right hand. It reminds me of her love and Dad's devotion to her, but also of the importance of protecting the things that matter most. Pearl necklace hangs in my jewelry box, waiting for special occasions when I want to feel close to Mom's memory. The house where I grew up feels different now. Dad and I have redecorated the master bedroom completely, removing any trace of Linda's presence. We've turned Mom's former office into a meditation room where Dad keeps her favorite books and the photos Linda had stored away. People often ask me if I regret pursuing the investigation so aggressively. Linda is someone who helped our family during Mom's final days, and her actions destroyed my father's second marriage and sent her to prison. But I've never regretted seeking justice. Linda made calculated decisions to exploit our grief for financial gain. She violated the trust of a dying woman who believed her precious belongings would be safe with the family. She stole pieces of my mother's memory and tried to profit from them twice through insurance fraud. The betrayal wasn't just about jewelry. It was about someone using our family's love and grief as tools for theft. It was about someone who saw my mother's death as an opportunity for personal gain. What Linda didn't understand is that some things are priceless not because of their monetary value, but because of the memories and love they represent. Mom's jewelry wasn't just gold and gems, it was the physical embodiment of her life's most important moments. When I put on Mom's pearl necklace for my law school graduation, I felt connected to her in a way that transcended the pain of Linda's betrayal. The necklace had survived theft, fraud, and recovery to be exactly where Mom always intended it to be with me, marking another important milestone in my life. That's the thing about love and memory. They're more resilient than the people who try to exploit them. Linda thought she was stealing jewelry, but what she actually stole was my father's trust and my sense of security in family relationships. But she couldn't steal the love those pieces represent. She couldn't steal the memories of Mom wearing them to every important event in my life. She couldn't steal the legacy of strength and grace that Mom left behind, which helped me fight for justice when it would have been easier to let the theft go unnoticed. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted during a time of loss, know that seeking justice isn't about revenge. It's about protecting the memory of the people you love and preventing others from being victimized in similar ways. Trust is precious, especially during times of grief and vulnerability. But when that trust is violated, fighting back isn't just about recovering what was stolen. It's about refusing to let someone else's greed diminish the value of what you've lost. Mom's jewelry is safe now, stored in a bank safety deposit box with detailed documentation of every piece. When I have daughters of my own someday, they'll inherit not just beautiful jewelry, but the story of how far their grandmother's love was willing to travel through theft, fraud, prison, and recovery to reach them. That's a legacy worth fighting for. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever had to choose between family peace and seeking justice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more content about standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember that the people we love leave us treasures that go far beyond material possessions. But sometimes, fighting for those material reminders is how we honor the deeper treasures of memory and love.